back in the day of the early fishermen, the fishermen had to use the Zebco 202. There were no fancy bait casting reels to speak of, and they still used the trusty tube with the tube jig to catch the great smallmouth bass along all of Lake St. Clair and Michigan waterways in the early spring cold water. But just as the baitcaster came into existence, would there be ever a replacement for the tube?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the future and welcome back to Live to Fish. Today is a very special episode. It is episode number 200 for Live to Fish. We have something very special in store for you. Today we're going to talk about something that's very overlooked nowadays, and that is the tube. That's right, the tube. The tube is an absolutely deadly tool for catching those smallmouth bass in cold water. But I have a very special unboxing coming up here that has to do with tubes and their evolution. So sit back and relax as we kind of go over some of the tubes of the past, and we're going to take a look at the tubes of the future. So if you're new to the channel, thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it. You got a lot of choices in fishing channels, but you're here, and thank you very much. And for those of you that continue to support the channel and got us well over 800 subscribers, thank you so much for your support. So if you are new to the channel, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to let you know when Live to Fish puts out new videos. All right, let's get to it. We're going to look at some of the classic tubes of the past and see where we're headed for the future.
All right, here's what I like to call the old-timer staple. It's the Gizzit tube. And what they do is they have some real nice little jig heads in there for you with the hook all set up. So they give you a couple of those. What is it, maybe a half dozen tubes in there? You're going to have to trust me on that because this is a used package, so there's some missing. And also on the back, they show you the different presentations. They give you the weedless Texas rigger, they call it, and also a Carolina rig. But here's the most popular one again. That is with the lead head there, and that is the kind of like the tube jig, but a little bit different, but pretty cool. Again, this is kind of like the gold standard, the Gizzit tubes. These are absolute candy for the rock bass. This is something that the kids and I used to throw these. They used to refer to them as little squiddies, and the rock bass would just eat these up, and it was just one after another. Pretty cool. So Gizzit also makes a little larger profile one as well, just a little bit bigger, but again, to be used with a tube jig. It's a little bit skinny, so these ones I used to use on a Texas rig with a little bit of weight. Very, very effective. And if you want to talk about effective, this is it right here. This is the Zoom Salty Super Tube in the 3 3/4 inch size. This is the green pumpkin color. I have caught more smallmouth and more rock bass on these tubes than any other tube I have ever thrown. Now, my favorite way to rig these was with a Texas rig, but it was with a weedless hook. And the reason why I went with the Texas rig weedless is because if I was using a tube jig around the rocky pilings all around the city of New Baltimore here off of Anchor Bay, they would get snagged up in those rocks real bad. But the weedless Texas rig worked out really, really well. Again, I can't say enough good things about the Zoom Green Pumpkin. This thing was absolutely a killer for us. For many, many years. Now, there's other times when you wanted to use a little bit of bigger profile, and these 4-inch Havocs were absolutely killer as well. These are real salty, very salty, so it's one of those things where they will corrode hooks if you don't take them off, so you wouldn't want to leave them set up and rigged. Again, same thing kind of goes for the Zoom. Anything that has a lot of salt, do not keep it rigged up. And speaking of killer, I don't even know where to begin with the Strike King coffee tubes. Again, this is one of the gold standards when you're talking about using a jig and throwing those tubes for the smallmouth. This is in the Gobi Lashish color. Now, these are 2 3/4 inch, so they're a little bit smaller, a little bit fatter, real salty, but these things have a scent that the bass just cannot resist. So for first timers, this is one of the ones that I would definitely recommend for smallmouth, especially shooting down on those mile roads. You're shooting for smallmouth, this is definitely the way to go. Again, the Strike King coffee tubes. It is a 2 3/4 inch fat tube in the Gobi Lashish color. And speaking of scented lures, how can you leave out Berkeley power baits? This is the power tube in the 3 1/2 inch. Again, a little bit bigger than that Strike King coffee tube. Very salty, but again, it's recommended that you use these with a Texas rig on an EWG hook. 8 count here, and these things, again, catch the fish. So now that I've gone through some of the tried and true basics of the original tube baits, let's take a look at one that's a little bit more futuristic. And here it is. It's Savage Gear, and it is the real 3D scan Goby tube, scent and salt infused. This is the 3.5-inch size. It's a 1/4 ounce in weight. It's the light pumpkin with black, purple, silver flake. So they give it quite an attitude. That's why it says lures with an attitude. So again, this is like a traditional tube, but as you can see, it's got a Goby profile. It's got the fins. It's got kind of a flat bottom to it, but it still has those tentacles and it still has the hollow body. But it's really nice because it comes with instructions here on how you can potentially rig it to suit your fishing style. So I think that's pretty cool. Again, this is the Savage Gear Goby tube, one of the tubes of the future, but hey, there's something else on the market. Let's take a look at that.
So as you can see what Savage Gear did, they kind of took the best of what was in the tube and kind of made it a hybrid with that Goby profile. But I'm here to tell you, I have a special package right here from Shop Carl's. That's right, a new bait that's right fresh out on the market, and you're going to get to see it here on Live to Fish. Now, you know what a big BioSpawn fan I am. Those Exo Swims worked great for me last year out on the water. And now, BioSpawn came out with a new product. Let's take a look. All right, let's get it open here. Ladies and gentlemen, from BioSpawn, I give you the VileTube. That's right. By BioSpawn, the VileTube is here. Awesome. Now this is a 6-pack of the 3.5-inch in the green pumpkin, orange craw color. Let's take a look at it out of the package.
All right, here it is. You might have a better look at it because we're not kind of getting that reflection from the ring light, which is kind of terrible, so I apologize for that. But here it is, the BioSpawn VileTube, and it is enhanced with BioScent. It's a 6-pack. These are 3.5-inch in length, and let's take a look and open this package up and see what they look like. Okay, this is the green pumpkin orange craw color that I showed you, and first thing you're going to notice, there's definitely a scent to it, so it is scented very, very well. Not overpowering and not a nasty smell. So it's not one of those smells where you're like, wow, that's a little funky for me. It's going to be good for the fish. Now you'll notice with the profile, this thing kind of looks like a stealth jet. I mean, look at those wings coming off there. It's like there's fins off to the side, and it's got a neat little indentation in the head. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's going to be real nice when you put that jig through there. The eyelet's going to poke right through that head, and it's going to be real accessible for tying on. Now, looking at the underbelly, you can see that the tentacles are much like the traditional tubes, but it also has these appendages off to the side, off the fins, and they're more like a squid. They're a little bulbous at the end, and they got a little bit of weight to them. So that, between the fins and that bulbous end, those are going to definitely displace more water than a normal tube. So I'm super stoked, super excited to get these out on the water. I can't wait to see how the bass react, and I kind of think I know what's going to happen. These things are going to be like candy, and they're looking to get diabetes.
So in addition to the green pumpkin orange craw, which you've seen already, they also offer it in the Lab Magic, which is pretty much one of my favorite colors to go to in the BioSpawn Exo Swim. So again, you're getting kind of a green pumpkin, and on the back, a nice pearl flash there. So that is kind of a real natural presentation, real natural colors. Very, very cool. Lab Magic, one of my favorite colors. And again, reflecting back on that Goby hybrid, well, I also got the Goby Smoke color, which this has kind of a reddish hue with some green pumpkin, and also has kind of a neat little pearlescent underbelly. Very, very sharp. This is going to be really, really good. It's got some red flake in it. This is going to be pretty much fire. I do not have a lure in this color yet. This one, I'm very anxious to try on the water. Now, kind of following that theme of that Strike King coffee tube I showed you, they actually have a color called Coffee Craw. Now, the Coffee Craw is just kind of what you think. It's a malted kind of mess of all the different craw colors. There's some blue flake, red flake, gold flake, black flake in there. And it's got kind of a grayish body with the little tentacles trailing off there. But it has kind of a light stained coffee body color. So kind of like a reddish brown, kind of like a light tan. Very, very cool. But it's got a lot of different flecks in it, got a lot of different sparkles in there. This one is going to be absolute fire. So there you have it, kind of the evolution of the tube, the different ways you can rig it, the different ways you can throw it. What's your favorite? So let me know down in the comments below. Are you a big fan of the tube? What has been your success out on the water using a tube? And what's your favorite way to rig it? Is it with the tube jig? Is it Texas rigged? Is it on the drop shot? Let me know down in the comments below. Well, that is all I have for you for today. Thank you very much for stopping by and watching this video. And again, if you have not yet subscribed, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you smash that like. And don't forget the notification bell. So until next time, and hopefully that'll be out on the water, be safe and be well. And as always, live to fish. Take care, everybody.